I'm Elaine, this is Elaine is XYZ, and I am back to being my travel crazy self, baby. Oh, you're so noisy now that I have a bell on you. Oh. It's been over 3 years and I am ready and willing to run my body ragged, crossing one too many customs checkpoints. I have a very intense schedule of visiting 3 countries across the next 4 weeks or so, and I know it's gonna be a lot, but I am very excited for it. And so in the meantime, I have to put an air tag on you so that everyone who cat sits you knows that you're still in this apartment even if you're hiding. So, unlike the last time I did this in 2019, I am not quitting my job. In fact, I will be fully gainfully employed during this time. I have been extraordinarily lucky in my experience of the pandemic, and that has extended to me getting one of the few gains by it. Basically, my work is allowing me the flexibility to digitally nomad it up. I spent last year's summer in New York City, and all I got from it was feeling hot, humid, and abandoned by all of my friends who had chosen to summer elsewhere. So this year, I am choosing to be like them. And my first stop on this trains, planes, and automobile journey is to the UK. So one of my goals this time is to do better on actually making videos. I'm hoping to ride on the high of real adventuring for the first time in a long time. And I really want to make sure that whatever footage I film on the trip doesn't just end up languishing in some hard drive somewhere. One of my deepest regrets of that 2019-2020 trip was I had so much film of my time in Nairobi and Mombasa and Portugal and several other awesome experiences around the world that are just taking up digital space now. And that's mostly because I felt like if I was going to make a video, it had to have some kind of clever narrative, impart some sort of lesson, give you like a hot travel tip that nobody else knows, which is a big ask when half the places I was going to I had never been before. Like, I'm not a journalist anymore. I don't have any team to help me with research. I occasionally have a cool local or a knowledgeable guide to take me around, but it's not a given. And because I'm filming most of these things alone, I don't have anyone to tell me that I haven't gotten the right shot somewhere. I only learn of all the shots I probably should have gotten when I'm editing in post. Really, I'm just a girl who feels compelled to make videos I want to watch of myself. And so instead of trying to be an expert in everything, I figured this time around, I'm going to try something different. I am going to be a vibe. Just experience this with me and the pals I'm going to see on this European summer vacation. All right, let's get to the airport.
Severe weather is not making things easier for travelers. Tens of thousands of flights have been delayed over the holiday weekend.
Chaos triggered in large part to the severe weather that Sam just mentioned. More than 2,000 flights have been canceled across the country.
Never mind. So, quite obviously, I am not in Cambridge yet. After watching my flight get delayed way past when my connecting flight was supposed to leave, I ended up having to politely argue with the airline representatives as to why they should not send me to Montreal without any guarantee of like hotel compensation or a flight to London within a reasonable time period. And after about an hour of back and forth, they finally booked me on a flight today, Thursday, at 11 p.m. Assuming I actually get onto that flight, it will make me miss part of the things that I had scheduled in Cambridge, but hopefully not all of it. I then called the airline today to try to see if I could get standby for one of the earlier flights going to London today, and after 2 hours of being on hold, they told me that I could try, but I'd have to go to the airport. So, the first possible flight that I could possibly stand by on is at 6, and it's about 1 p.m. now. So I suppose, all things said and done, I could be spending like 6 or 7 hours at Newark now. So after thinking about it, I figured, yeah, I will try, and I guess I'll do the rest of my employed work from the Newark airport for the next 5-6 hours. So fingers crossed, going to Newark, trying to get to London. We'll see what I can do. All right, attempt number 2. Here is me getting to the airport about 6 hours early for my actual flight in the hopes of making it onto one of those 3 United Airlines flights that were supposed to be leaving to London beforehand. And friends, I'll skip to the end. It was not successful because...
It was literally the worst I've ever seen at an American airport. I got stuck in Atlanta yesterday.
Which meant that I had to talk face-to-face with an agent, but the line to do so lasted 3.5 hours. Well, no. It probably would have lasted longer than that because I hadn't made it to an agent before all the possible standby flights had left, and I needed to board the one that I definitely had a seat for. So here is me consoling myself to missing an entire day of activities with some really mediocre airport dinner. Little did I know that. But in the end, I did in fact make it. And since basically everything scheduled in the program for that day was over anyway, I didn't even mind the extra 90-minute bus delay as we crawled through traffic. I don't think I actually mentioned what I was going to the UK, and specifically Cambridge this time around for. But a bit over a decade ago, I studied here for my master's. Our 10-year anniversary fell in 2021, which was canceled due to some pretty obvious pandemic-related reasons. I reached out last year, though, to ask if Alumni Relations wouldn't be able to help us host a belated one. They agreed, and 9 months later, it was a little too late for dinner by the time I arrived, but I managed to get to closing out the pub with everyone. The pub is the Eagle, by the way, known for many things, including Watson and Crick announcing they'd discovered DNA. And you know what? The rest of the weekend was so fantastic that I kind of would have forgotten how long it took to get there if I wasn't recounting it for everyone multiple times. About a third of our class participated, and honestly, I didn't even have the longest journey. 3 people flew in from Australia and New Zealand. Heck, one alumni smuggled her way in from Moscow by way of Istanbul. And it was so amazing to just jump back into conversations with them like barely any time had passed. Maybe thanks to a very ironically ill-fated attempt by rich people to get up and close with a century-old disaster. As annoying as the start of my journey was, I kept coming back to the thought of, well, it could be a lot worse. So, I'm actually recording the final touches of this about a week later. I'm relatively lucky that Europe is not in the middle of a huge heat wave right now, but still, none of these places have air conditioning, and my American ass is sweaty. I really wanted to end this video by saying Wow, think about how much we really take all the efforts that have made mass transit safe for granted. Airplane accidents now average 1 out of 1.6 million flights per year, and that's down from about 1 in every 25,000 back in 1959. In general, any type of mass transit travel, whether it be plane or rail or even passenger ship, has just gotten so much safer. I actually went down a Wikipedia rabbit hole to see what kind of maritime fatalities had happened through the ages. And did you know, in the year of the Titanic, 1912, there were 2 other accidents that had racked up enormous death counts? The Kumbana and the 150 people aboard it disappeared in a tropical cyclone off the coast of Australia in March of that year, just a month before the Titanic hit that iceberg. And meanwhile, in September in Japan, a ship called the Kichimaru was said to have foundered off the coast of Honshu, losing all 1,000 of its passengers. It was allegedly barely reported because it was just one of 100 or so calamities that had happened because of a typhoon that year. And so, as uncomfortable as waiting around in an airport was, thinking of the Titanic and its ilk really puts it all into perspective. I'm sure I was much more comfortable than how I would be if I was desperately trying to stay warm on a floating piece of debris as the guy I just met freezes and drowns in front of me. I don't know if this was totally quite what I was hoping to make of these travelogues. I feel like I've been yapping away much more than I expected to be, but who cares? As previously mentioned, I'm just a girl who feels compelled to make videos that I want to watch of myself. And if you want to keep watching along, please like and subscribe, I guess. The rest of my UK trip was in fact a vibe, so hopefully whatever video that I create of it will be one as well. So see you next time, doing whatever it is I happen to be doing, which hopefully is the continuation of this Great Britain travelogue, because that would mean that I did not just give up again, and this isn't months later with me talking again about my depression or something like that. Yeah.